what led up to the incident. And officials in Twiggs County are on the hunt for a suspect who ran from a traffic stop earlier today. They say Lamonta Thomas was last seen on Hill Brown Road near the trash dump. He's facing multiple violent charges.
With the charges on what the charges he has in the Atlanta area, I would consider him to be dangerous with the robbery and aggravated assault.
Deputies say he was wearing all black and no shoes. If you see him, contact the Twiggs County Sheriff's Office. Today is a beautiful day after all the rain, and it was hot, it was sunny, it was nice. And Chief Meteorologist Ryan, not Chief Meteor, I'm sorry.
I did that the other night at 11 o'clock. I understand completely.
It's their names.
I know.
Why are they both Ryans?
Yeah. and he's always acting like chief of everything anyway.
Yes,
Miranda,
he's the one that tells us what to do. But he is soaking in all the sun for us.
I know. I might as well actually go with my kind of incognito name in the newsroom. I should be meteorologist Bruce. That's what everyone calls me now because we have so many Ryans, even behind the scenes as well. We have a few producers that's named Ryan, but we are out here enjoying the sunshine out of the Macon-Bacon baseball game. They're still getting ready to warm up. The game starts at 7 o'clock tonight, and the theme for tonight's game is all about faith and family. They even have a live worship concert after the game. But tonight, the weather is going to cooperate whether or not we're coming to the baseball game or not. But it is still rather hot out here. Currently 9 degrees in Macon, 89 in Forsyth, 88 degrees right now in Butler, and 86 in Abbeville. So planning out the rest of your Friday night, it will be a humid one. All the rain that we got the past few days is beginning to evaporate out of the ground, and so there's going to be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, but we will stay dry. 87 degrees at 7 o'clock, 78 by 10, and temperatures will cool down into the upper 60s through the overnight hours. There could even be some patchy fog that develops with all the moisture that's in the atmosphere. When the temperature cools down to the dew point, the air gets saturated, and we could get some patchy fog for early Saturday morning. Otherwise, it's a muggy night. Looking ahead, Father's Day is also on Sunday. Help plan that out with you. And another active week looks to be taking place next week with a lot of high rain chances. I'll talk more about that coming up in your full forecast. Greg, I'm going to back to you guys.
Well, Greg and Amanda say thanks, Bruce. Now's a great time to download the WGXA weather app. Bruce, or should I say Ryan, is back in less than 20 minutes with your 10-day forecast.
At least one person is dead after two separate traffic crashes on Interstate 75 this afternoon. You're looking at the scene of that confirmed deadly collision at the Arkwright Road exit. The second crash happened just a few miles away at the Bass Road exit. We're still working to learn more information about the crashes.
Warner Robins firefighters had their hands full this morning when a home caught on fire on Mercer Court. First responders say they were called to that home around 7:30 this morning. Firefighters say it took 3 engines and a ladder truck to put the flames out. The assistant chief for the Warner Robins Fire Department says thanks to people nearby, they were able to quickly get that fire under control.
Units responded and arrived on scene and found a moderate amount of fire coming mainly from the garage area of the residence.
Do we know what caused the fire?
At this time we don't. It's our understanding there were some bypassers that noticed the flames and alerted the occupants.
Officials say all 3 occupants and their pets made it out of the home safely.
And some Macon FedEx employees could soon be left without a job. The company announcing that the facility on Houston Avenue will close later this year. Company officials confirming that some employees will be transferred to the Frank Emerson Parkway, but others will lose their jobs. FedEx says customer demand and market conditions are behind the closure.
And drivers in Macon will soon have a new way to pay for parking. This county will use the Park Mobile app to allow drivers to pay for quickly parking and extended parking time directly through their phone. The app will be available for on and off street parking access. Suicide rates among farmers and ag workers remain on the rise, and tonight's On the Farm, we examine this disturbing trend and meet one Georgia researcher who wants to promote prevention through awareness.
When we went out and conducted our interviews for the study that I'm going to talk about, many of our farmers knew of another farmer who had either taken their own life or were currently struggling with issues around mental health.
Dr. Christina Proctor, clinical assistant professor at the University of Georgia, is among the researchers working to fight a growing trend of suicide among farmers and ag workers. UGA researchers found among Georgia farmers and ag workers during a 7-year period a suicide rate of 50.7 per 100,000. Now that's compared to 14.9 per 100,000 among the overall population of workers.
We know from recent studies, like you said, that the suicide rates are high, and they're actually almost worse than any other sector outside of mining and construction workers.
Proctor wanted to better understand the struggle of Georgia farmers, so she conducted her own field work. She and a grad student spent time with 15 farmers in 10 Georgia counties across the state.
We got to witness firsthand not only what the farmers were telling us, but also those day-to-day stressors that they dealt with, right? Like livestock escaping. Many of our farmers were constantly being called on their phone because of issues that were happening on farms, like equipment breaking down, something happening in a chicken house. So it was really important for us to see sort of the context of the day-to-day life of a farmer, and conducting these interviews in person really helped us understand what that was like.
Proctor says financial worries emerged as farmers' most pressing concerns.
Fluctuations in market prices, increasing taxes, not being able to compete with developers buying up land, having to take out loans, high debt for their farming operations.
Other major stressors, the demands of the job.
Also, they were worried about developing injuries and illnesses that disrupted their day-to-day operation. They were worried about extreme weather events, droughts and hurricanes, but also pests and wildlife destroying their crops, right? Some of the South Georgia farmers I talked about the hogs just coming in and eating crops, so they would have to be camped out all night, to shoot the hogs that were coming in to destroy their crops. And that led to missing time with family. So that was another major stressor, right? Like having to spend so much time, on these other things that they didn't really have a lot of time to spend with their family and their friends, which led to even more stress.
We're going to hear more from Dr. Proctor next week, but we want to tell you this. If you're having thoughts of suicide or suspect a loved one may be struggling with such thoughts, please call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. Now, we have more information on the warning signs of suicide on WGXA.tv in this On the Farm story. Senator John Ossoff says he's working on bipartisan legislation to promote Georgia-grown goods across the globe. Senator Ossoff made the announcement this morning exclusively to WGXA. Ossoff says the Expanding Ag Exports Act is bipartisan and it promotes expansion of America's ag industry to the worldwide market. Ossoff says it's building off the success of recent efforts to get India to drop tariffs on Georgia pecans by 70%. But Ossoff says this new legislation will benefit all Georgia farmers.
If we can get this done, this is going to help even further and help pecan growers take advantage of the opportunities in the Indian market, help Georgia farmers to sell products globally, not just in India, but to countries all over the world. That's going to bring more wealth back to our state and support our agricultural industry.
Ossoff says lawmakers hope to pass the marketing legislation later this year as a part of the Farm Bill.
The sunshine is finally back out after a wet few days, and that could cause a little bit of some extra humidity in the air for tonight that could develop some patchy fog, but it's a great night for your Friday evening plans, or if you're coming out to the Make and Bacon baseball game. The game starts at 7 o'clock, and they even have a concert after the game. The theme, though, is around faith and family, so a great night for some baseball or any of your Friday evening plans. And a look ahead out over the weekend, it's going to be a very typical summer-like pattern with temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. There could be a few isolated storms really each afternoon, but the bigger story is really going to be about the humidity. So on Saturday, some isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. Celebrating Dad on Sunday, it's going to be humid. A few of those pop-up storms out there on the radar. Not everyone gets hit, so it will be a nice day to be outside, but it is going to be a little humid. Maybe a great day to go to the lake or be at the pool, get some nice cool drinks. And it is going to be a little bit of a hot day, especially in the peak of that summertime heating through the afternoon. Temperatures right now, even still pretty warm, currently 90 degrees in Macon, 87 in Monticello, 86 in Fort Valley, and 88 degrees right now in Vienna. So we'll look at satellite radar showing we did have some clouds that pushed over today. Now it's just some fair weather cumulus clouds. We will stay rain free as some of those clouds begin to exit further south over the Florida Panhandle, but it will be muggy really for the rest of your Friday night. Some patchy fog developing overnight low, 68 degrees. So any of your Friday evening plans, the weather will cooperate just with some of that humidity in the air. And tomorrow, planning out the first half of your weekend, we start with temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s, a mixture of sun and clouds. Most of the day will be dry, but then we'll get some of those isolated pop-up storms by the afternoon as temperatures top out into the upper 80s. And planning out the day with Dad on Sunday, if you have any of those outdoor plans, it will be good to go. Again, we will have some hit or miss storms on the radar, but not everyone gets hit. 68 degrees at 7 o'clock, 87 by 1, and temperatures will be into the low 90s, celebrating Dad on Sunday. But if you're going outside, any of your pool plans or to the lake, of course, don't forget the sunscreen. A sunburn is really not going to be a great way to end your weekend. So most of the weekend is going to be staying dry, just some isolated storm chances. But Monday for Juneteenth, there looks to be a low pressure that's going to be developing up, and it's going to be stagnant right over top of us and just circulate around. This will throw bands of moisture our way. Really, Monday looks to be almost like a washout of a day with widespread scattered storms, especially throughout the afternoon. But really, every day next week has some high rain chances. So this is going to be something that we'll have to keep an eye on. Right now, it doesn't look to have any severe threat, but there could be some excessive rainfall or some flooding with all the rain that we got this week. And then again with next week, it could cause some issues. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on. There looks to be more of a wet, active pattern for the next work week. So in your 10-day forecast for your Saturday, isolated PM storms by the afternoon, but it's a nice day otherwise, 89 degrees. And celebrating Dad on Sunday, temperatures climb a little bit more, 92 degrees. Again, a few of those isolated storms in the afternoon. Most of the day will be dry, and then that low pressure really begins to set up with some widespread storms, gusty thunderstorms on Monday, more of them arriving on Tuesday. Storm chances continue to diminish further into the week we go. Some scattered thunderstorms on Wednesday, the high only 81 degrees with all of those clouds around, but temperatures still into the mid 80s with a lot more raining clouds, just something that we're keeping an eye on. And lastly, here's your Harrison Body Shop Fish and Game forecast. Peaks at 2:20 a.m. and 8:20 p.m.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, the weekend right before Juneteenth is here, and Macon is kicking off the holiday with honoring the celebration.
Our Brianna Cook is live with what Macon is doing for the special day and joins us now. Brianna?
Greg and Amanda, Mayor Lester Miller presented a proclamation to officially observe Juneteenth in Macon-Bibb County.
Do hereby proclaim this June the 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth Observant Day.
Juneteenth is finally official in Macon-Bibb County. Mayor Lester Miller came together with Macon Black Culture, Kwanzaa Cultural Access Center Incorporated, Barbers on Duty Incorporated, and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission to announce the proclamation and parade that will take place on Monday. Amina Muse-Dixon, co-founder of Macon Black Culture, says they want the event to bring the community together.
The first event that we decided to do that could encompass all of that was the Juneteenth parade. We wanted to put love on display, unity on display, empowerment on display, and pride on display for the city. And the event is open to all people who believe in the freedom and the empowerment and the unity and pride of all people.
The Juneteenth parade begins on Monday at 11 a.m. and starts at the Tubman African American Museum. Afterwards, there will be a family reunion at Cherry Street Park with live entertainment, a spades tournament, and kid-friendly activities. George Muhammad with the Kwanzaa Cultural Access Center Incorporated says Juneteenth is a day of not only reflection of history, but also working towards the future.
It's important for us to acknowledge our history, good and bad, because it's very important for us to move forward with knowledge, move forward with wisdom.
Miller stressed the importance of uniting the community on such a historic holiday.
That this is a community event. This is not about us and them, it's about we as a community. So we hope that you'll reach out and join. Make this something we can be proud of. Macon-Bibb County has continued to lead the way in so many ways, and this is just another way that we can show the rest of the world how unity looks.
The parade and family reunion is open for everyone to attend. Reporting live in studio, Brianna Cook, WGXA News.
It's Game Changer Friday, which means it's time to introduce you to an athlete making a difference in their community.
Yeah, that's right, Amanda. And today, Carlos Stevens introduces us to an athlete who has an impact that's taking him inside hospitals across Central Georgia.
My dad taught me the way to measure success, is how many people you bless. And rising sophomore and basketball player from Stratford Academy, Josh Jackson, is surely making his presence known through giving to his community. Josh volunteers with his school by going in the community, cleaning up neighborhoods. He also visits hospitals with his mom and dad, giving back toys to the little ones, and even mentors other young children in the community. He also volunteers for food drives with his parents. And while other students may sometimes fall under peer pressure to be cool, Josh, like any leader, has his own idea of what cool looks like.
Staying in school, being focused, and helping people.
And that same focus in the community is also kept in the classroom, landing Josh a 3.5 GPA. But it has also landed Josh a promotion in basketball, according to his head basketball coach, Jarvis Smith.
This year, he's really going to emerge at that point guard, lead guard position for us.
I asked Josh what keeps him motivated.
Easy, my people, man, my family, man, they're with me 24/7. God, without Jesus, man, none of this stuff would be popping.
And while Josh has a family full of supporters, he says he has a bigger vision for himself.
Go to college and graduate because nobody in my family did it before, so I want to be the first to show my cousins and all my younger people that you can go to college. That's cool.
And much like Josh, his coach agrees that Josh's parents have made a huge difference.
Them showing Josh that direction, that's a great impact in his life, as far as understanding, how to give back and help others grow in areas.
And after all the motivation from Josh's family and coach, there's a message Josh has for other athletes.
Keep pushing, man. Sky's the limit, for real.
And that's your game changer of the week. Congrats, Josh. Central Georgia, if you know an athlete making an impact in their community, send their names my way. Reporting in Macon, I'm Carlos Stevens, WGXA Sports.
It is nothing short of a miracle how one mid-state woman's rare cancer diagnosis was missed, but today she's a survivor.
Our Irina Plunkett tells us the heartwarming tale of how a local hospital rallied around her.
It was a week before my 41st birthday. I spent my 41st birthday face down in an MRI machine.
It was a birthday surprise Emily Minix could have never have imagined.
I think anybody who's had an ultrasound for any reason, when you hear that mouse clicking in quick succession, they're measuring something. And in my case, it was a 3-centimeter chunk of breast cancer.
Stage 2A, tubular carcinoma to be exact. A rare form of breast cancer that only 2% of patients have. Statistics at Minix says the first hospital missed before she went to Piedmont-Macon.
But it had been there a while. It was actually missed on my baseline mammogram, which I had had at a hospital in another city in Georgia. When I had that mammogram here at Piedmont Hospital, they noticed it obviously really quickly.
A scary realization for a mom and wife who had to put on a brave face.
It cuts you to the core, it brings you to your knees, and definitely a lot of tears shed that day, and then a whole lot of me wiping the tears away, making it to that pickup line on time to pick up my daughter that day, and pretending nothing was wrong.
An act that Minix says she didn't have to keep up at Piedmont-Macon, where she underwent a double mastectomy and reconstructive surgery to remove paper-thin margins of the mass. Surgery that she says couldn't have been done without the support of her new family in scrubs.
This past year, Dr. Keith Martin, the general surgeon, kicked me out of the club. I had my last appointment with him. I was able to give him a big hug, and I said, "Thank you for saving my life." I see him tear up. I mean, it's just a huge deal. I mean, you end up seeing these people all of the time, and he saved my life.
A 41st birthday that gave Minix a different perspective on life.
The entire team saved my life, but there were a lot of people here who saved my soul. I mean, nurse navigator Kim, the plastic surgery team that made things beautiful again, and I just got a lot of love from these people.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Thigpen. I'm again here today at the Bibb County Animal Services, and of course in Bibb County. I'm joined again with Elvin and also Audrey and Guess who we have today?
Oh, this big boy's name is Clay.
Clay.
Clay is about 3 years old. He's a pit bull mix, and he's about 60 pounds. Really big boy, very sweet, very loving, full of energy.
Full of energy, that's for sure.
So he just needs somewhere where he can run and play and take care of his curiosity. He's curious about everything.
And you heard that, about 4 years old, right?
3 years old.
He's wanting to know what's over the counter there. 3 years old, 3 years old, all right. So Clay, if someone would like to adopt Clay, you heard the stats on him, Elvin, how would they go about doing that?
They can contact me at 478-972-4975, or they can reach us through Facebook.
Now, many of you are taking care of this. We get reports from Bibb County Animal Services here and other places around how many of these dogs are adopted out to good homes. Let's go ahead and do that today, folks. Thank you so much, Elvin and Audrey.
From solving a puzzle in world record time to brand new discovery millions of years in the making, Cole Higgins has these stories and more in today's Take a Look at This.
Have you ever attempted to solve what I consider the world's most unsolvable puzzle, the Rubik's Cube? Have you spent hours attempting it before throwing it against the wall in frustration? Well, not Max Park. The 21-year-old from Long Beach, California, just made history, solving the handheld puzzle in a record 3.13 seconds. That's right, seconds. Park was diagnosed with autism when he was little, and his parents say the cube has been a form of therapy for him.
When he was 7, 8, 9 years old, he couldn't hold pennies, or he couldn't open up a water bottle. I mean, he couldn't do anything with his fingers. The cube itself was just something that was going to be an exercise. The competitive aspect was never a component for us to get Max involved with.
A very special student received her degree from the University of Maryland, Baltimore this week. No, not that one, this one. Loki, a 5-year-old Rottweiler, officially earned her doctorate after training as a service dog while her owner, Dr. Caroline Benzel, attended medical school. Not only did this caring canine serve in trauma centers during her training, but she and Benzel passed out care supplies to healthcare workers during the pandemic. The two are now off to West Virginia University for Benzel's residency, where Dr. Loki will continue her special brand of healing. And finally, a new dinosaur species has been discovered off the coast of England. According to the Natural History Museum, the Vectipelta roamed the Earth during the early Cretaceous period. The Vectipelta is the first armored dino to be found on the Isle of Wight in 142 years. Nicknamed Dinosaur Isle, it's known for being a particularly good fossil hunting site. For Take a Look at This, I'm Cole Higgins.
Great stories. I'm just glad I don't have to say that dinosaur name there.
I know, me too. I feel like I was so intrigued the whole time.
Me too. I was just sitting there watching.
The camera came back to us.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God,
we were
okay, it's
lost
over.
in the moment. Yeah, we sure were. Yeah, I love that.
How cute was Dr. Loki?
Oh, Dr. Loki's adorable. And 3 seconds for a Rubik's Cube, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That really is.
Like, wow.
Well, that's going to do it for WGXA News at 5:30.
We invite you to join us at 6 on ABC 16. Have a great evening.